Good morning, guys. Happy New Year's Eve to you all. I hope you're doing well. It is a Sunday, obviously, and I'm feeling quite tired. Got some decent bags going on under my eyes. Oh, this weather is depressing. I've literally just fed mine, and I'm sort of hoping once they finish their feed, by the time I've greened them, so I can get on and go for a ride, because the wind is starting to whip up again. It's already rained as well this morning. I just sort of want to get them done. They've not had the best week riding-wise, or work-wise, I should say, because it's just between my work and the weather, it's just not been very easy. So I'm just praying for the new year we get some nicer weather. Some weather that means we can go for a ride in peace without being drenched or blown away. I just want some nicer weather. That's all I want. That's all I want. Anyway, I was meant to be bringing you a different vlog today. I was going to do my kind of little equestrian haul. So I've done a little bit of shopping, just a little bit of shopping in the kind of Christmas, New Year sales, and then just kind of what I've been up to this week. However, one of the big items that I purchased hasn't even been dispatched, and I thought, well, it's kind of part of the video, so we're gonna have to hold off on that one. I'm hoping it might be here by next Wednesday, but I'm not sure it will be. I'm surprised I haven't dispatched it yet, because I'm pretty sure I ordered that on the 27th. Not heard anything, so that's slightly worrying, but anyway, I'll update you next week on that. So instead, guess what, I'm bringing you another history vlog. Another history vlog. I'm sorry for bombarding you with them all at the moment, but because it's so windy and wet outside, it's just impossible to vlog anything outside. So then it kind of, you think, oh, what am I going to vlog inside? And it turns out to be another history vlog. I seem to be going through all the jobs that horses did back on the London streets years ago. Today we're doing the brewery horses, which is quite interesting. I've never really ever looked into how the breweries back then used horses, obviously to transport the beer, the ale, but there's a little bit more to it than that, and yeah, it makes for interesting reading. So if you're interested in knowing how horses were used for breweries, keep watching.
Today we are heading back in time to look at the role of a brewery horse. London was once thought of as the brewing capital of the world, and this was back in the mid-1700s. Nationwide breweries were hitting numbers of over 49,000 in operation. This was up and down the UK. I mean, that's a colossal number of breweries. But the reason being was that back then people drank beer and ale like water. They would drink pints and pints and pints of it every day. So there was such demand that, we could afford to have that many breweries set up across the country. However, things began to change by the early 20th century. Nationwide breweries had begun to drop considerably, and by 1970 there was only 150 UK brewers left. However, things have started to change again. There's been a steady rise in small breweries in this country starting up, and currently we have 1,828. There were two types of brewery horses back in the day, the mill horse and the delivery wagon horse. Mill horses were cheap, old, often injured horses at the end of their life, picked up from the market, very easily replaced. Sometimes they were even blind. These were horses that had worked incredibly hard. They were on their last legs, and before they went to the knackerman, the mills would often buy them and use them. So they would be put to work on the mill wheel, where they would have to walk around in a circle for hours, turning the shaft that rotated the mill stone, and that in turn would grind and crush, in this instance, the malt. They were also used to work the pumps, to raise the brewing liquor, initially to the copper and the pump, the wort back into the copper for boiling. Large breweries employed on average 20 mill horses working in shifts. But in 1781, the steam engine began to hit, and after that there was a demise in the need for mill horses. Companies always kept a few just in case the steam engine happened to break and they had to go back to using the mill wheel. Delivery horses were vital for the brewers to get their beer to and from the inns around the country, but we're going to focus on London specifically. 2 to 3 horses were used to pull the barrel-laden wagon, a drayman to drive and a trouncewell to help load and unload the barrels. Brewery companies paid good money for these horses because of their strength. They often used breeds such as Shires, Clydesdales, Suffolk Punch and French Percherons. These horses were true quality. They were strong, big-boned, and they needed to be, as they were pulling huge amounts of weight every day. They were big, impressive, fit athletes, working every weekday, doing 14-hour, sometimes 16-hour shifts, resting only on Sundays and light loads on Mondays, which was the brewer's dull day. Horses would start work at 5 a.m. and return to their stable at 7 p.m. Brewers' horses worked hard, but they were well cared for. Blacksmiths would take care to make sure that the shoes they fitted truly fitted their feet. They weren't just any standard size. They were also well fed, a combination of the best clover, hay, sainfoin, straw and oats. They would be fed at 2 a.m. in the morning to give them ample time to digest their food before starting work at 5 a.m. In the 1780s, the biggest brewery in the world was Whitbread's London. When their Chiswell Street stables became full, they built Garrard Street stables to take the extras. This was a decent-sized stable block, a little like the GWR Mint stables in my last history vlog. Garrard Street stables was 3 stories high, 13 horses on the ground floor, 36 on the first floor, and 50 on the top. Just think how strong the floors in this building had to be to hold such heavy horses and so many of them. The horses were walked up shallow steps to get into the first and second floor. Owning so many horses was expensive. In 1750, Whitbread had 60 horses kept in rented stables. The brewery then built their own stables at the Chiswell Street in 1758. With the brewery continuing to expand, they built more stables in Garrard Street, which opened in 1897 and housed 100 horses. By 1904, they had 400 horses working for them, but when World War I hit, 118 of those horses were commandeered by the government. In the 20th century, the number of horses began to drop because of the invention of the motor car. By 1960, there were just 32 horses left at Whitbread. And in 2001, Whitbread stopped brewing. The Garrard Street stables still stand today, and once again, I love that you can still see all the windows that would have been for each stall. And the fact is that just like the Mint stables, the stable block pretty much looks the same. It won't be on the inside, but from the outside, it looks pretty much like it would have done all those years ago. And it's thought that even the large yellow gates may well be the originals. A fun fact, did you know that Whitbread sponsored badminton horse trials from 1961 to 1991? One of the longest sponsorships for any sport. Once again, I think with all these history videos, the horses really were the heroes throughout this. Absolute heroes.